It is the second to last class in the 30 days of dance training, day 29. And guys, as always, welcome back. Wow, we are almost there, you guys. One more day to go today, and then tomorrow, and then it's finished. Wow, this has been a crazy, 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 crazy journey, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I want to thank you, and just want to thank you for joining me in this and kind of being a part of this journey with me. I learned so much from you guys as well, besides you just learning from me, which is really, really beautiful. So I want to thank you for that. And I really hope that this time with us, this time with you guys has helped you in any way, inspired you in any way, changed something for you, opened you up, learned you something about yourself, and so on. I know I really sound like a broken record, but I can't thank you enough. So today we are going to finish off our journey in concepts. We worked on the wave, we worked on tracing, we worked on placing or sticky hand, right? And today we finish it off with the sphere. So the sphere is very open, it's really fun, it's really it's just really fun to play around with. It's very playful, basically. What a sphere is an imaginary ball that we can rotate and use in different ways. Now, I started using this kind of because of Kung Fu. So there's this movie that from a lot of ums. There's this movie of Jackie Chan. And he was, I believe it was Jackie, he was practicing using this bowl, right? And he had this bowl with water in it, and I believe that he had to try and keep this bowl on his hand like this without letting the water drop. I'm not sure if that was the exact same exercise, but that was the idea. And so I really liked that idea of having something and rotating it around without letting it drop. And then I also saw him use, like I said, a ball, or maybe that was my own interpretation of it, that with a ball I could practice certain hand forms, shapes, and techniques for martial arts to practice my, you could say my mobility in my arms, as well as just a lot of options to block with. So it's kind of like the 52 blocks that I talked about in the first week with the elbows, right? But then now it was a ball that I used as inspiration to try and find ways so that I could block. And that then in the end turned into the sphere that we are going to use today. It's not, I didn't invent that, but that is how I got to it, okay? So we're gonna right away get into the technique and start practicing. And eventually I'm gonna give you several options that you can use with the sphere so that you can actually freestyle with it, manipulate it, and have more fun with it, okay? So, how I explain creating this circular motion, because that's the base of the sphere, is first of all, we act like we have a ball in our hand, right? Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna rotate our hands or our fingers towards each other, rotate it around, or turn it a half circle or a half rotation, and then come to the other side. Boom, 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 boom. And then I do that fluid, so I just let it rotate like that, okay? I use my wrists a lot, you could say, like that. Now, I myself also play with my fingers, but I don't focus on it too much. They happen, but I don't like make a perfect circle. So what you could do is you could, I don't know how you say it in English, but let one to the other go out or go in, like that, right? And then as I do that, when I turn, you get this rounded movement. So for instance, now my pink starts with the upper hand and my index finger starts with the lower hand, and I roll it off to the other side like that. But I don't do that really. It is good to have that available, but I don't use it. I use another technique that we're gonna get into later after this, okay? So just play around with the ball and see it, envision it, believe it. A concept is only as strong as the belief you have in the concept, not the technique. It's the belief. We talked about that, right? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna learn to continue to rotate this ball, okay? And how we are going to practice that is by thinking of taking our hands and then rotating one down and touching our stomach with every finger, with each finger. So I'm here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it in and touch my stomach with this hand. Flick, boom. From there, the other one comes around and flicks. So they both move towards the same direction. This one comes to the right, and then that one comes to the right. And then from there, I bring it up. So think of having a ball here. You bring the ball forward, you bring the ball to the side, okay? So this section, you can even do this to get the feel for it. So now I'm just rotating my wrists around each other, or rotating my hands while my wrists are connected, like that. And then I try to let my wrist go and just focus on having a ball. And I move that ball from side to side, okay? So we have the ball on one side, we move it to the other side, then we go to the stomach from there. So this one comes down, this one follows along with that hand, like that. And then we cut through, or we cut through. We touch, take the ball back, boom, and bring it to the other side. So, like this. Boom, bum, and up. Bum, bum, and up. Bum, bum, and up. Bum, bum, and up. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. So try to touch your stomach, that way you make sure that that rotation is happening. Eventually you want to let go and of course not touch the stomach. So then you just continue to rotate. And what it feels like is that one hand is leading and the other one is following. So one hand leads down with the ball, the other one follows to keep the ball here. Then the same hand leads it back up and the other one follows. See? Without, of course, not doing it step by step, but continuously moving like that. There we go. Okay, other side, comes down and through the stomach, or touches the stomach, boom. This one follows, touch, bring it up. We have a ball on this side, we bring it to the other side. Touch, ball on this side, bring it to the other side. Touch, touch, stop touching, boom. Boom. So I myself, little detail, I use a wave to bring this hand down so that it keeps a certain rounded feel to it. So when I'm here and this one comes down, see that? I follow with a wave, boom. But I can understand that that is a little detail that maybe is a little bit too complex. So you don't have to, it's just an option. And that's how we generate the ball, okay? So now that we have our sphere and we can move it from side to side, or we can rotate it and show the ball like that, now it is time to play around and learn how to manipulate this ball. So what we're going to do is we're going to first bring it side to side. Bam, 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 bam. Right, so we're keeping it here as if we are rocking a baby, right? And then bring it up and make the ball right here. Bam, 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 boom, boom. Okay, nice. So there's a lot of different options that we have for movement. We can do the same thing, but now come forward. So it becomes more of a wave now. And it's a mixed technique, you could say. There's a lot of stuff mixing. So what I'm doing is I have the ball in this hand and I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna rotate, or I'm gonna grab it and move it to the top. So it now moves, you could say, to my forearm, like that, you see? But I keep rotating, so I use that wave, some people call these liquids, to make sure that that fluidness stays inside of this, so that that sphere, see, continues to keep its power, its effect, okay? So we rotate, we come back down. From there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch like this and come forward again. Okay, nice, cool. And let's go back to the ball. Okay, let's see, I believe there was a, yeah. So we can do the same thing, but now instead of forward, we go side to side. So we're going to start here. We have the ball here. We're going to bring it to that side, to this side. So we're going to rock the baby, bring it up, and here. I know the ball drops, but for now, just to get the transition, because when you do this, you see you continue to move. But for now, just to practice the transition, we come out, we come forward, up, and to the other side. Boom. Let me do that slow. We're here. Bring down at the stomach and come up to the side. Down, stomach, up to the side. Down, stomach, up to the side. So you get this movement right here. So this is all about learning to move the ball around, see, and find different ways how I can basically play with the sphere, okay? Another way, another option is to use one hand and move the sphere around with one hand. So instead of focusing on turning with both hands and one following the other, one hand stays in place and I now rotate it around like this. So what happens is you could think of the sphere, the ball, being on the forearm around the wrist, and then I just take it here and put it here on the wrist. And if I want to turn it, of course my hand shouldn't be attached to it, but it should be turned away from it so that it can continue to rotate over my wrist. Do you understand what I'm saying? If the ball is here and I want to turn it there, I turn my wrist away so that the ball can rest on my wrist, so you get this. So that is another option. Okay. Yeah. Back to the other side. There we go. Switch. So you could also first touch your wrist to get the feel for it. So I'm touching my wrist, and as I want to go over, this one comes under. It's like doing the opposite to where I am with my hand. So where my hand is and the ball is, I am moving the other hand opposite of that, like that. Okay. Other side. Yes. Nice. Okay, and we take it back. Cool. So now we have a few options to how we can move this ball around and play around with it, rotate it, bring it down, bring it up. See, I can take this same rotation that we just practiced and I can bring it down. I can bring it to the side. I can bring it forward. I can bring it back. See, I can bring it up. I can bring it down. You can just do a lot of different things with that. We are going to continue to play and find different ways we can use this thing, okay? So now that you got the first little part of options and movement of how you can use this ball and play around with it, what I want you to do is just take it and take a moment to freestyle with this and just move around in space with the ball and just search for different options. Try to bring it down, try to bring it up, you know, come up with it, go down with it. Just learn to move it around and see how, yeah, just explore basically, okay? Take a moment to do that and then come back here and we are going to continue. Okay, so now that we had a small introduction in how to use the sphere and hold it in our hands and play around with it, we are going to continue our journey and we are going to explore other options or possibilities to hold the sphere, for instance, in one hand. So we're gonna look back or come back to the thing that I was talking about when I talked about the Jackie Chan movie where he was using a cup, but this time we are going to use a sphere. So I want you to have this in your hand, but for now, just think of a cup with water in it, okay? And we are going to try to rotate with this because that is what you do with the sphere. You rotate and you create rotations and options the whole time as if you continue to show that there is something in this nothingness. There is a circle in this nothingness that we are moving around, basically. So we're going to take the cup and we are going to try and rotate that cup by going underneath our arm. Okay, so underneath the armpit first, boom. From there, we are going to try and rotate it forward to show it to, for you, the computer screen, for me, the camera. So I'm coming here, then I rotate forward, but I don't want to drop the cup, so it has to stay on your hand. And if you want, you can actually really use something. So let's have some fun here. Let's see if I can practice what I preach. If that's, yeah, that's. So I'm going to go underneath I'm going to come forward and show it to the camera. And then from there, what you are going to do is you are going to bring it to your chin like this. Boom. Okay, so you keep it above your head and then bring it out forward to give it to someone or give it to me. Okay, so we have it here. We bring it underneath our armpits, sweep it towards the camera, then bring it to your face and come forward. Again, boom, boom, boom. There we go. Uh-huh. And, hey, yes. Boom, boom. Oh, yeah, got it. Okay, now reverse that. So, we're gonna bring it back. Okay, this one is kind of hard. Let me see if I'm doing it right. Yeah, okay. So, we're gonna bring it back to our face. But now what you wanna do is you wanna take your elbow and bring your elbow up. Okay, so you wanna bring your elbow up and push your hand, you could say up as well, kind of. Elbow comes up and your hand stays flat, stays horizontal. From there, I bring it back to the armpits and I rotate it out, okay? So if you actually use something, you're gonna kind of have to do it right, and that way you can learn it the right way. Boom, boom, boom. And what you can see is that I am using my body. Sorry, now I'm over exaggerating. I'm using my body here. You see that I lean back so that I have space, so that I can open up and bring this underneath. I can't do this while standing see? Maybe it is possible. Maybe I need to be more flexible. I don't know. But I can't imagine. Okay, it is kind of possible with a little bit of cheating. But it's not really what I want to create. What I want to create is that beautiful, oh, now I'm messing up because I'm being too quick. That beautiful circle right there. Boom. Okay. So we're gonna go from the original direction. So we're gonna come in from the arm into the armpit, come up forward, and then bring it back. Let's go. Boom. Armpits, bring it forward, bring it to the face, and give it to someone. Come back over the face, bring it down to the armpit, and there. Boom, boom, bang. Back. Boom, boom. And then from here, we switch. Okay, we switch. First, let's do it the original direction. So normally, if you want to switch, you would have to start up, but let's start down at the armpit. Underneath your arm, bring it forward. Okay, now bring it to your face, and there we go. Again. Nice. Nice. Okay, awesome. Back, so to the face. This is my, for you it looks like my right, but this is my left hand, and oh my God, so I'm gonna try. And got it. Okay, so to the face, we bring our arm, our elbow up. That gives us room to bring this hand underneath. Okay, then we bend so that we can actually, don't fall. We bend, see, so that we actually have the space and we can use our body to come underneath that hand. Okay, or did I say that right? We use our body so that this hand can come underneath this armpit. Boom, boom, boom. Let's try to go both ways. So we come into the arm or below the arm, forward over the head and give it to someone. And come back. Boom, boom, boom. I cheated there. I'm gonna be real honest with you. Bang. This one I got. And then when we go back, it's hard for me to do it fast. But I kind of got it. There we go. We're gonna now switch, give it to the other hand, and then from there to the face, underneath the arm, out. Underneath the arm, to the face, and switch. To the face, underneath the arm, and out. Underneath the arm, to the face, switch, face, underneath, and bang. So that is the technique for single-handed kind of rotations slash spheres, right? This is, again, just my information. It's not a foundational technique for using spheres. This is just something personal that I use, and of course this is my platform, so I just want to share my ideas and how I get to my movement, okay? So without anything on my hand, I go underneath, I come up, boom, bring it over, come underneath and out. That's what you get. Boom, 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 bang, shoo, 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 boom. Nice. Okay, so that's a way we can use our hands to create rotations, and if we want, we can continue to make those circles with the same hand and then add the stuff to it to have that sphere again, right? So if I would go from a ball, I could come underneath, bring it in, bring it up, and then here I can continue my sphere if I want to. Okay, so if you would want to, you can also make that bigger and do it above your head. So if I'm here, I can go above my head, because now it's not so much about holding something for real, it's the sphere. So, you know, I can hold it in different ways. So I can play around with moving above my head and then maybe switching to this one, coming underneath, coming over my head, coming forward, bringing it to here, and so on. See? So it's a lot freer. It's just about learning to turn this hand, you see that? Turning this hand while moving. And if I turn, for instance, I can create a lot of different options to still create effect right here. So what I did just now, for instance, I was doing this turn, but a little bit up here. So I raise my elbow to come up, and then I rotate around it to get to this point. It's hard to explain that one, because it is literally this, what I'm doing. But now instead of having my hand do all of the work, I come here, I'll stay in one place, I rotate around that place, and then as I am, let's see, as I am here, boom, with my wrist facing towards you, I rotate around it, keep my hand in place, and then from there, I can do whatever I want. See how beautiful that is? You can just create completely different stories from there, as if I have a fixed point, but I practiced the rotation, so I play around with how I use my rotations. See? Together with that fixed point. So for now, the second part, take this one, right? Take the cup technique and use the cup technique to play around and search for different options. Just freestyle, have fun, and then come back. Okay, it is time for stage 3. Stage 3 is about showing this rotation that we have in one spot, but then with one hand. So how does it work? Let's say I have a ball right here, and I want you to think of this, or I don't want you to think of this ball. You need to see this ball. This ball is here, but it's gonna stay there. And what you are going to do is you are going to rotate around that ball with your hand. Okay, so now we are rotating over and under, but you keep holding that ball like this, over and under. Okay, so it is a fixed point now, right? Fixed point meaning it is fixed in one place, and that's where I move around, or I move with that space. Okay, or under, over. So I use my wrist, make this circle, but then I change the location of my whole arm. So if I make this circle, but I change the location of my whole arm, see this, my fingers are staying in the same place because of that, even though I'm doing this. Okay, so over, under, over, try it a few times with me. Under, over, under, over, under, over. So you want to keep holding that ball, guys. Keep holding that ball. And at a certain point, you're starting to really feel. It starts to become real. You feel that there is something right here. You know, you experience it. We can also go sideways. So we hold the ball kind of in front of us. If you do it like this, it becomes a lot harder. So I'm holding it down so that I can bring my arm over it. You see? And then we rotate. Basically, we rotate like this with the hand, but then we push our wrist forward and back. Okay, so you get that. You can already notice in my movement that to me it has a lot of relationship to Kung Fu, even though I didn't really do it in like a dojo. As a kid, I was very inspired by it, and I practiced it by myself. I had like scrolls at home and I practiced those scrolls to get the forms, and that's where a lot of inspiration of the things that I share with you guys came from. Yeah. Okay. So we can go over and under, and we can go sideways, right? So other hand, over, under. With this one, I'm not as good, but that's just what it is. I also need to practice certain things, but I'll get the feel for it with you guys. So we're going over, under right now. Under, over. So it's opposite direction. Whew, this one is hard. So if you have a hard time with staying fixed, what you can do is you can take something. I don't have anything right now here in the studio, but you can take something and place it in front of you, like a chair or something, and then you can hold your hand beside the edge of the chair and use that as a fixed point, and then try to stick to that point, right? So if I, for instance, use this little, I don't know what to call this in English, this right here, that line, I can rotate around and try to keep my hand basically on that line, or keep the line in between my hands, in between my fingers, right? Now this is not a perfect example because I can't make the same rotations like this, but that is an idea of how you could do it. So I have something here and I have to move around it, and because of that I can practice staying in one place and then getting used to that, okay? Sideways. I must say that my English has been really become worse and worse since I started the 30 days. It started really nice the first week, but honestly I've been making these videos super late at night till 5 in the morning at times, and my brain just stops working when it comes to like the right grammar or the right words for a certain object or thing that I want to say. But I hope that you guys can yeah, just follow along with me, stick through with me and understand what I am saying for now, okay? Anyway, so we now have our single spheres, and we can basically move around that if we want to, and play around with how we use our hand inside of that, you see? We could also do our whole arm. Let's have some fun. So now I got one place, and my elbow is the thing that I continue to rotate around that place, okay? So I come out, I bring it down, so I have to really bring my whole body down to get to that other point, come in and come up. And that's how I, boom, continue to try and move that ball in one place while my hand or my arm and my body is rotating around it, okay? The same can go front, back, see? For me, this is very therapeutic. It feels very flowy, you know. Cool. So, take a moment. We're just doing everything separate because that's how I learn my things. I do every technique separate, and then from there I bring them together. Take a moment to take this ball and just play around with the different options. See what you can do and how you can move around this ball. But instead of starting to mime, where you just grab it and focus more on like having it in one place, having it in one place, focus on really that rotation. So even if you move around it, see that? Rotate your hands. It's about building that sphere. We're practicing that same technique that we are doing with both hands, but we practice it with one hand, you see? Okay, and how my fingers move like this all comes from waving. That's why my fingers have this little effect when I yeah, move around. But honestly, that is not what it's about for now. That is just a detail, so I don't want you to focus on that too much because it just takes time, and it's really about the imagination and feel of that. But if you really want to know, I just practiced these a lot, the squeezes of the fingers, right? You can practice that on, for instance, a table. Put your hand on the table and then wave from there and squeeze. Bring them into the table, and what you get is a very dense wave in your fingers, okay? So that's how you practice it, and then from there you could, for instance, do these where I switch one finger to the other, and these help you to let them kind of move separate from each other so that I get like this control of just moving the fingers separate. I've been doing this for a long time though. Like this is an old thing that I used to do when I used to practice finger tutting. And now I just use it in anything. So if I move, for instance, my sphere, I don't do too much with my finger because then I lose it. But there is always a certain texture with my fingers so that that sphere has texture to it. And from there, I can just move into whatever. Okay, so your turn. Here's the ball. Take it and use it for a moment. Play a song, play around with it. And then, of course, come back here. So we have 3 techniques now. We have both hands. We move around. We have the cup, and we have the single-handed sphere that we can use to play around with the whole arm and so on, right? Take a moment to put those 3 together and just have fun. Just play around. Like I said, I take one, right? I can put my hands to it and then continue to create my sphere, move my sphere around in space. I feel like this technique I have to give you for a moment because if I don't, you kind of miss out. So give me a second. I want to share something with you, which is more liquids as opposed to spheres, but it helps me a lot. So it is something that we already did, but now I want to give it in a different way. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to have our hands and we are going to create a wave. Okay, if you can't connect them separate, intertwine the fingers, connect them like that, hold them like that. Okay, you're going to come down, you're going to, going to move forward just so you start moving front towards me like that and follow with the other hand. So you get this. Okay, from there, I'm going to bring it down, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of spiral it to the side. So I come in and I spiral to the side. Boom. If I would do 2 spirals, you get this, but now I'm taking 1. So I'm doing 2 so that you get the feel of what I mean with spiral. But 1. Okay, the other hand is going to come with that and follow along like that. So it's almost as if I make that ball, right? Let's see, if I come down and I make that ball up, it has the same feel to it. The difference is that I don't finish here, but now my fingers stay connected as opposed to my hands opening up. Now I'm open, now my fingers stay connected. Okay, so try that with me. Okay, so let's see from there. Well, there's of course a lot of options. What we're going to do is we're going to spiral down and then from there spiral back up. So you're going to take this hand, you're going to bring it back up. So it comes forward rotation and up. Boom, like that. Down, up. Other side, down, up, down, up, down, up. So you get this and this. Boom, boom, boom. And you just follow your fingers, guys. That's what it is. You just follow those fingers. Look at them, see them follow each other. And that's how you're going to make them stay connected. It's again believing in the concept. If you believe in it, they have to follow. So you will find a way to make your hands do the right thing. Basically, that's kind of how it works. Of course, you can have details in just how much flexibility, how much coordination you have in your fingers. That helps a lot. But then again, it is the concept that makes this become alive. It is not the technique in my fingers that adds on and helps it become more vivid. That makes the story more vivid. Okay, so we now have this continuation of a wave where it follows, right? What I want you to try and practice with for a moment is just taking this wave and moving it around in different places. So I can bring it down, I can bring it up, I can, for instance, come over here. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this down and wave down. Boom. Come up, wave down, come up, wave down. Other side, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then of course I can make my spirals. Come down, come up. You see, so I just follow along with where my hand is going, okay? Please take a moment to do that because it's very beneficial for your sphere so that you can learn to move the sphere around, you see, and change it a little bit so that you can go to another direction as opposed to pushing the whole ball forward. Okay, try that out and then come back here, please. Okay, that is enough for the techniques of the different spheres that we have. Now we're gonna learn to manipulate them, but before we do that, of course, I'm gonna ask you to put them together, okay? So you're gonna take, like I said, the ball, you're gonna take your liquids, your cup, and your single sphere, single-handed spheres, and you're just gonna put them together and search for different options, okay? Now you can stand, of course, straight, cool, no problem, but you can also really start using your body and moving around with the sphere, finding different ways how you can basically bring it into different places, right? So use your body to move around the sphere. I know it's a lot of information, so it's gonna take some time, but eventually you will understand how, for instance, if my hand is here, I can also move my body up and around, for instance, like that, boom, to continue my sphere there. Or I can come underneath this and take it here, but that takes time. So take a moment for yourself. Again, I know it's a lot of moments for yourself for now, but this is just your practice and I really want to help you through your training, which means you have to freestyle, because it's a freestyle video, yourself and explore a lot, because that's the best way to learn. So go ahead and then after that, come back. Okay, so now that we have practiced the different options and techniques that we can use to create a sphere, make it visible, it is time to manipulate it and yeah, just play around with how the sphere looks. So for instance, now I have a very small sphere, but I can have a bigger one, or a bigger one, or a bigger, you see, a bigger one. It can be very light or really heavy, right? So then I have to move it around a little bit harder, right? I can throw it, I can catch it, you see. I can push, I can pull. So we're gonna play with some options on how we can manipulate the sphere. I'm going to start with just explaining it a little bit, and then from there we are going to freestyle with it together, and then I'll let you do it yourself. So let's first talk about the size. We have the sphere, and what I want to do is I want to make them bigger. So I'm gonna have this circle right here, and now we're gonna make that circle a lot bigger. So it's a bigger ball, basically. And that means that you now have to rotate around that ball and really use your arms. You see that? The ball's here, I bring it out, I bring it up. Bang, there we go. This one helps a lot because it just creates so much, a complete different dynamic for your sphere, and it opens you up to not only use your hands and your fingers like this the whole time, but really understand that this concept is a full body. You see that thing that we can do and play around with? You see, I can take this whole big ass sphere, now it's in my arm, and I can rotate that sphere around, boom, take it here, for instance. Okay, so we have him here, let's see. We have him. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it in, bring it up, bring it down, bring it up, bring it down, so make it big, make it bigger, huge. Of course, this makes no sense anymore, but it's okay, it's about the idea. Make them smaller. Make it smaller. Okay, make it smaller. So you see that you can really play with that bigger version of the sphere and find different ways, right? I can rotate not just the ball, but I can also rotate myself around the ball. See that? So I can bring it down. Now I hold it back, take it under, go underneath it, you see? Swoop it around, bring it behind, boom. See? So once you believe in the concept, you get a lot of different movements besides just having that little fingery ball happening that is not really, that much. It's really the manipulation part is where it becomes really fun and interesting, not just the technical part. Okay, so that is it for the size of it. I know I talked about the weight, but let's for now skip that one, because you can play around with the weight, but I have something that is a bit more valuable, okay, to me. So now let's try out something else. We are going to make the sphere come alive. So instead of us moving the sphere is going to move us. We're going to take it with one hand, and it's going to pull us towards a certain direction. It can pull us down, it can pull us back up, it can rotate us around, come to the other side, whoa, rotate over there, right? I'm really getting into it. But for now, let's practice the technique. So what happens is I basically take a wave and let my arm come to the side, and then I move from my shoulder like that. And the reason for that is that if something would pull me for real, I am not being pulled by my body. I'm being pulled from the shoulder, and then the body follows. Boom, boom, shoulder body, okay? So try that out to make it become real, okay? And also, you don't move with. So if I'm here and I move with, now it is not a pull. See? So I have to wait till it catches up to me and my arm is straight, and then follow afterwards. Same for up and down. So we're gonna go down, and it's gonna bring us down. We don't have to bend, we're just gonna do it like this. Then from there, we can go up in several ways. Let's say, let me see. Okay, this is not an easy way, but cool. Right here, and back up. Down, up, down. Feel that pull. Boom, boom. Other arm side to side. Boom, 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 boom. Pull, 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 up, down, up, pull, and down, and up, down. Okay, good. Of course, there's multiple ways we can rotate around it. Like I said, it can take us forward, back, down, up, right? So it's really just about a path. So now we have our size, right? Small, big, and we have, we move the sphere, or the sphere moves us, okay? So those are some manipulations. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a song, and first we're gonna do it together. We're gonna take the sphere, and I'm going to talk and change the size, and I'll say big, and you make big circles and play around with the big sphere, and just see how you can move that bigger sphere around, okay? Remember, I can either move the sphere myself, or I can move around the sphere, okay? Myself, or move around it, yeah? Myself, boom. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the size, and then I'm going to say follow or lead. When I say follow, we follow where the sphere, the ball, is bringing us. When I say lead, we guide it ourselves, okay? So I'll say size, and then I say follow it. I've never tried it with a bigger one though, but this is gonna be a really fun exploration together. So I'm gonna get the music running, and let's do this. Okay, so let's start with a small sphere. And just play it around, move it around the floor in whatever way. Big. Small. small. And let it pull you. Control it yourself. Let it control you. Okay, cool. Now this still feels somewhat limited, which brings us to the last section. The last section is about now throwing the sphere, catching it, letting it fall, and manipulating, or sorry that we already did that, expanding and kind of stretching it out. What are you talking about, Kev? So what we are going to do now is we are going to try to break loose from just the sphere as a ball. It's not a ball anymore, it's whatever object you want it to be. I can take the sphere and make it longer, and now it's a stick. And I can throw the stick, right? Then from there I could grab it, make it back into a ball if I want to. Or maybe I'll let the stick, the sphere fall, and then I grab it from there, you know? So let me give you two ideas that you could play around with, okay? We can have the ball. We can have a flat surface, like that, okay? So I can play around with how that flat surface moves, how I use it. Maybe I want to lay on top of it. I want to bend it down, bring it up. Ball, flat surface, stick. I have a stick, right? So I hold the stick, I bring the stick forward, I bring it around, I play with it, I do whatever I want, right? And then lastly, we have a rope. Is it a rope? Kind of. This is a bit hard to explain. It is kind of a rope, but it's weird. So if I have a rope, what I can do is I can basically move this. Okay, that's kind of, okay, that's the best way for me to explain it. I can take this rope and I can kind of, what do you call that? Tie it around myself, basically. But I can tie it in different ways. Okay, now I myself don't really think of like a rope and then, oh snap, it pulls me. You can, but I don't take it too literal. It's just a concept. So for this one, I'm kind of moving freely through it. And what happens is if I do that, I can basically just move it around without ever getting stuck, right? So for instance, try this out with me. Head, body, leg, leg, ankle, ankle. Head, body, leg, leg, ankle, ankle. So I'm taking it around my head, around the body, maybe around the hip, leg, leg, ankle, ankle. Okay, and what I do with that one is I just play with how I basically bring it around my body. Mainly for me, it's about the transferring of it. And I keep transferring while, for instance, I rotate my body, you know? And that creates this interesting, you could say, structure of movement within myself. So, rope, stick, flat surface, maybe a table, maybe a wall, whatever you want it to be. It's just a flat surface. It can be a small flat surface that I can move around. It can be a box with flat angles, right? Or flat, my English, guys, it's not working today. Edges, corners, I guess, right? It's not corners, whatever. A box. Let me see, box, stick, flat surface, which is the box, and of course my ball. So for now, we're gonna take just that and play with that. And then lastly, we're gonna break open this whole freaking box that I don't even know the freaking name of when it comes to the sides. The sides of a box. There we go. The sides, right? We're gonna break it open and then it becomes like freaking free form. But for now, let's first learn to change the object into something else so that we can play with that, okay? So I'll just say it and you do it with me. Let's go. Okay, let's go. We're gonna start with the sphere. So just take the sphere, move it around in whatever way you want to. Stick. Rope. Flat surface. Okay, time for the last section. Okay, it is time to open it up. So, I told you about being able to also throw and catch, let it fall, and so on. So the properties of this can change and you can do with it whatever you want. Now, I often expanded into the things that I wanted to be, as if I'm really doing things. So maybe I have a car and I just rotate the wheel of that car, and then from there, boom, it goes back into my sphere. Maybe I have a stick, but the stick is inside of my arm, and then I move that stick around, right? Maybe from there, let's just go back into the sphere for now, right? Bring it somewhere, and then I'll let it drop. Boom. Then I'll take it as a wheel and I rotate my leg, boom, for instance. So I really open up just what is happening and how I use it, and I just use different actions, different actions that mimic real life, and I put them into the sphere, creating a lot of interesting movement, okay? So you can open it up, do whatever you want with this sphere, but the most important, not the most important, but the last thing that I want to give you is that this sphere can also move your body, as in, it's in my body now. Now the sphere is being moved in my chest. Think about the trace wave, right? It is kind of like that. So instead of just, like I said, instead of just having a stick, I can also apply the stick to my body, boom, and move from there. Bring it forward and sideways, so it becomes a full body dance. I go inside of it, for instance, boom, a sphere comes out right here. I rotate it because now, I don't know, it's a something, I don't even know what, like maybe a camera or something, boom, and it comes down, bam, and from there, I just go back into my sphere, for instance, right? Now I move around the sphere like we talked about, bang, and then from there, I decide that I want it to be a gun, which is really violent. I'm super sorry about that, boom, and I shoot myself up. I know this is all of a sudden like, what the heck just happened? We were doing spheres and now it is literally just everything, and that's how I use it myself. So the concept that I'm sharing with you right now is called the unidentified space. So this sphere is just unidentified, and we basically play with the different options that we have and rotate it around, move it around to then eventually make it into something and identify it, and then let it go back into nothingness from there. So that we have a free form, and that free form can take on any object or anything that we want, and we can play around it, and if we want, still use the same sphere-like movement. For instance, if I have this gun, I'm so sorry that I got to a gun, I don't know why, but if I have this gun, I can still, let's say it's a water gun, okay? I can still use this sphere-like movement to rotate with it so that I can dance with it instead of literally like showing you like, oh, I'm gonna shoot some water at someone, you know? Because that's not the idea. It's not to act, it is to create shape and form and dance with that form. That's what it's about, not to create a little story and make an act, basically, make a play in a way, okay? So I know all of a sudden it just broke open like crazy and it's like, what the heck is happening? But yeah, I hope you'll find some fun inside of this still. And I hope I was able to give you a lot of options inside of your sphere and then now change it into whatever you want it to be and play around with that, okay? Throw it, catch it, do whatever you want with it. Throw, catch, let it drop, spread it out, make it smaller, rotate it around, and so on and so on. Just go and have fun, explore it for yourself. Eventually, there is literally no rules to it. I just gave you the basic techniques that you can use to make it come alive, and then it's all up to your own imagination. So you can check my Instagram video where I probably do a lot of this myself for some, not advice, but for an example. And then from there, it's all up to you. So good luck, have fun, and I'll see you in the next and last class, you guys. See you tomorrow.